Let's talk a little bit about how North Texans and Texans everywhere waste time every single day, twice a day, in traffic jams. TxDOT has $9 billion of budget authority that they didn't know they had, or that they did know that they had. They lost money. They found money. They got more budget authority. People voted money to them. And yet every single day we are doing exactly what we're doing now, sitting in traffic, listening to Talk Radio 570 KLIF, thankfully. Yeah. What are we going to do about putting pavement down? And
be thankful you don't live in California.
Here.
Who don't have any answers to their transportation needs. And that's one of the things that in 2003 that I started working on, and that's a big old ship to turn around. We started passage in 2003, again in 2005, of creating more ways to bring dollars into our transportation. We'd sat here for 30-plus years and not built any transportation infrastructure, living on some very thoughtful transportation policies that were done back in the 60s. And throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s, no one did anything. I mean, we hadn't even raised the gasoline tax since the early 90s, I believe.
And the tax that we did have was going to education as opposed to where it needed to go.
Right. Well, and even DPS today, they take $600 million out of the transportation dollars every year to operate that. One of my agreements that I've got the lieutenant governor and the speaker to sign on this coming legislative session is
there are only actually three options as far as
converted over for other purposes, like they are to fund the Department of Public Safety. I mean, DPS is a good agency. They do a good job out there, but they shouldn't be funded with our transportation dollars. So with all of that said, we didn't have a lot of options. We could raise the gasoline tax about $1. That's what it would have taken to build out the types of projects that we need. Or we could have sat around and waited for Washington, D.C. to ride to our aid. You know, if it was left up to me, I wouldn't send Washington, D.C. $1 of our federal tax money. We only get 84 cents back for every dollar we send up. I mean, it's a black hole up there, in my opinion. And, you know, don't even get me started on the corporate bailout they did with $700 billion.
So I can say that you would have voted against that?
Oh, I would, absolutely. I think this is one of that is not the free markets at work.
No way.
You do not reward irresponsible behavior, greedy behavior, and that's exactly what happened in a lot of these companies, and we're rewarding them by bailing them out. So anyway, Washington was not the answer. If Washington is the answer, it must be a pretty stupid question, right? Have we heard that one before? But here's the bottom line for us is we needed to build roads, and there's not an asphalt fairy that comes in the middle of the night and waves the wand and somehow or another these roads show up. They cost money, and every day that goes by they cost more money. So what were some of the options? Obviously, the private sector coming in and partnering and creating toll roads, and I was obviously for that because we've built a substantial amount of roads using that concept. As long as there is a free alternative, and we would never ever toll an existing road that had already been paid for. Those are some of the caveats I had. But you know, the fact is, as long as somebody can get around on a free road, like my dad out in West Texas, he refuses to pay a toll, and that's his freedom. And but when he comes to Dallas, it may take him a while to get around finding that free way.
Well, most people in the Wells Report have said that they would sit in traffic rather than go on a toll road. They would tax themselves rather than a toll road. They would rather do that than have toll roads, whether they were privately owned or publicly owned. They don't want them. And I respect that, but the fact is that there are a lot of people in this state that do, in fact, believe that their time being with their family is worth paying whatever a reasonable toll is to get around. And if those folks who don't want to use tolls have a better idea, can come and show us a better way to pay for our transportation infrastructure. I mean, it's one thing to say I don't like them, but it's another thing to have a legitimate alternative. We have to build roads. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about border security. An awful lot of Texans heard your campaign promises about border security. And a lot of them calling us have felt let down by some of the policies that you've done. And I want to know what you would say to those folks if you could.
Right. Well, number one, I'd want to hear what they were saying. I mean, what their what their concerns are, because what I said was that we're going to invest, because Washington, again, has been abject failure at the standpoint of securing our border. We're going to spend Texas state tax dollars to secure the border, and that's exactly what we've done.
We're going to send the federal government a bill, right?
Well, yeah, we can send them a bill, but don't expect to get paid.
How much money have you spent?
$115 million over these 2 years. It's a biennium budget of $115 million. And it's worked. I mean, we put boots on the ground. We got technology. We got aviation assets we're using. Border crime is down 65%. I mean, that is an irrefutable number, and it's working. And we're now. Are they changing their tactics? Absolutely. They're using transnational gangs now. We're going to ask the legislature to come in and assist us with ways to go after these gangs that are transporting drugs and human beings and are using extortion and murder. I mean, the border of Mexico in places is a war zone, and we've got to continue to fight them and battle them. One of the things that we did is that these transnational gangs penetrate up into all the way up into Dallas and Fort Worth and north of here, and we want to be after those people up in here. It isn't just about the border. And one of the other things that we did is we had the DPS change a rule where that now clearly on a driver's license, if somebody is here with a visa and they've overstayed their visa, it shows up on your driver's license. So our DPS agents, when they stop somebody for a traffic violation or what have you, or for that matter, they're trying to get on an airline and you got to show your official ID, it's going to show that this individual's visa is overdue, and at that particular point in time, they get identified, and the federal agencies come in and step in. Because if you're here and you're out of compliance with our laws, we need to know about it.
The transnational gangs, the Gulf Cartel, 14 members illegally here, arrested in Farmers Branch. It was an international ring. It started right here in Texas. I mean, a lot of people, that gets down to that thing that we talk about a lot on the Wells Report, which is that big dumb fence that isn't technological, that is patrolled by Border Patrol agents, a lot of them that you put on the ground and all that kind of stuff. But you know, the technical fence had problems with the technology not working. Plus, you can turn it off. A big dumb fence, on the other hand, you know, that's kind of hard. I have noticed.
And a big dumb ladder.
Well, but then
you got to have people. You've got to have people. And look, technology's great, but the fact is, none of it's going to work unless you have the manpower in place. And that's where the federal government has really let us down. I mean, the idea that we're spending $115 million every other year in Texas to do the federal government's job really incensed me. I mean, it wears me out.
I bet it just gets to you. I mean, it gets to all of us. I mean,
that's money we could spend on a lot of different things, but
we spend tens of millions of dollars at Parkland Hospital. They're asking for $747 million to build a new one. I mean, these are things that are breaking us here in North Texas, and we've got to get this. We got to get this fixed.
We got to get it fixed.
A couple of things. I want to know, who are you endorsing for president?
That would be Mr. McCain and Mrs. Palin.
Okay,
and Governor Palin. Senator McCain and Governor Palin.
You don't believe that you would have been a better running mate for Governor McCain?
Sarah Palin is a great running mate. I've known Sarah for 2 years. Matter of fact, had Sarah here in April of this year at a big energy conference. She did a fabulous job. Both entertaining and extremely knowledgeable in the energy industry. And if there was ever a time when you need somebody that knows a little something about the energy industry, I would say it is now. I don't understand how anyone could sit and thoughtfully think, with America facing the issues that we're facing, the financial crisis with a war in Iraq, a war in Afghanistan, how in the world you could vote for someone with no more experience than 2 years in the United States Senate and somehow think that this young senator can lead America at one of its most crucial times in our history. It's beyond me. I will guarantee you that Sarah Palin has more executive experience, has more time dealing with issues that really matter than Mr. Obama. He's going to be the president if he's so lucky to win. She's going to be the vice president, with Senator McCain, who's got 30-plus years of experience, not to mention 7 years' experience of learning how to be disciplined and focused in the Hanoi Hilton.
Boy, I'll tell you. Governor, it's been a pleasure having you, sir. Thank you
it's
so
my
much.
honor. I want to be back.
Well, please come back.
Call me. Don't call whoever you were calling before. Don't call them anymore.
Better watch out. You give us your cell phone number, we'll use it. Governor, thanks very much for being on the Wells Report. We sincerely appreciate it. Look forward to having you back soon.